Monday edition of PFT Live. This is something that landed yesterday. Ollie Connolly of the Read Optional Substack. I don't know what a Substack is. I think it's just like a blog. It's like a blog platform, and I think you have to pay, but you don't have to pay. You sign up, you still get it. I don't know how it works. But I do know this. There was a report that Rueben Bain Jr. was involved in a fatal car accident in 2024, and there's police reports. It's all buttoned up. It happened. There was a 22-year-old passenger in the car, and this is the worst part. Destiny Betts. She was a Georgia student visiting during, I think, spring break. Was seriously injured, was in a coma for 3 months, and eventually died. There were other injuries involved. And so now this is out there. But the reality is, this is the kind of stuff that teams easily find out. They have resources available to them. Yeah, that's right, Mike. Where they can find any police report that has named the player anywhere in the country. Like, they do it every year. They have access to the services where you put in the player's name, you put in the player's date of birth, and you're going to get anything that he's ever done, probably all the way down to parking tickets. Anything that is digital in a system anywhere, you're going to know. The teams know about it. This isn't some bombshell that someone's dropping to try to get a guy to fall in the draft. This is out there. Now, the thing that bugs me is the idea that here come the reporters who say, we've known about this forever. Well, why didn't you report it then? Don't tell me you knew about it, you didn't report it. Because it's worthy of being reported. It's a car collision involving a key player that resulted in a serious injury that culminated in death. Of course you should have reported it if you knew about it. Don't show up to the table and act like, hey, I'm one of the cool kids that knew all along. All the teams knew, and I did too. You're failing your audience. It gets back to some of the issues and balances and standards we were talking about earlier. Why are you deliberately withholding it? Let everybody know.
I think sometimes, though, in that, too, like, I understand what you're saying. I'm not pushing back, but I think sometimes, too, is people don't want to be the one that puts it out there. Right? And is used to...
But it's fair game.
Well, yeah, I know it's fair game, but sometimes it's also used like, why is that agent telling me that? Oh, because he's not his player. He wants me to release that to crap on the player now and make his life worse. And, like, I do think there's some out there that they just go, I don't want to be a part of that. Okay, I know the story. Somebody else will break it. I'm not going to be a part of it, right? I do think that happens at times. But you're right. It's a major story and it's a superstar. But also, I think people would be shocked at how many times, as we know, and there's ones that you've heard me joke about in the viewing room at NBC, where stuff has gone on and you've gone, this is like a big deal that, you know, everybody in the NFL knew. It never became public knowledge, and it was like just one of those stories that kind of flew under the radar. But for whatever reason, it didn't really get put out there, and that seems to happen in the draft. But, yeah, this is a serious one. But to your point, the teams know about this, and they've known about it forever. That's the point.
And back to the point of consciously choosing not to report on it, that's fine. But don't brag that you knew about it all along.
Yeah, okay. I hear you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you, totally.
There's something unseemly about that.
Yeah. You're right about that.
Like,
that's what's annoying about it.
I'm on the inside.
Totally.
Well, do your job then.
Yeah.
Do your job or don't do your job.
Yeah, or just shut up
and let it be out. But don't tell us after the fact.
Exactly.
I could have done my job if I had done my job.
Yeah.
So, as it relates to the teams knowing, and it doesn't matter if it becomes public, there is one way, and this depends on the team involved. And I'm not saying there's any one team. I'm just saying it can be any team. Once something like that becomes public, that's when the owner can start to become a little skittish.
Sure.
If it's not known, and there's no reason to believe it will be known, you feel one way. Once it's out there, you may feel a different way. And sometimes maybe things get leaked, I don't know, to try to scare off certain owners that will then cause the player to fall. Because, look, Jalen Carter is the apples-to-apples comparison. Jalen Carter was involved in a fatal car accident months before the 2023 draft. He was charged. They ultimately resolved it. I remember with the Combine, waiting to interview him. Oh, he left.
Yeah.
He left the Combine.
Yeah.
Why did he leave? Well, he had this issue. So what happens? He falls to number 9. The Eagles don't hesitate. They have a guy that was second for Defensive Rookie of the Year in 23, Pro Bowler in 24, Pro Bowler in 25. That's what they got. And other than the spitting incident with Dak Prescott, it hasn't been an issue.
Yeah.
He hasn't been an issue for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, that's where it's
I don't
tough.
know. Maybe the guy needs to fall just enough to get a wake-up call. Maybe that's the takeaway. Like, if it doesn't affect you at all, maybe you don't learn the lesson. But when you should be top 5 and you end up going 9th, maybe that's enough
to wake
the
you
team
up.
can use to try to speak to your better angels and get you to not do things that you've already done.
Yeah, well, definitely.
And look,
yeah.
kids do dumb shit at that age.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's a character flaw.
Mm-hmm.
People do dumb things. Their brains haven't fully developed. They drive their cars too fast. They engage in reckless behaviors. They do stupid things. Every child who grows to that age is capable of doing something dumb. I did dumb shit at that age.
Me too. I tell my wife to this day. I mean, she's we were married when I was that age, and sometimes she goes, "Why'd you do this?" Or "Why?" I was dumb. I don't know. I was 24. I was an idiot. Like, I mean, it's not. Don't do that to me. But yeah, I mean, it's a bad look. No doubt. Doesn't help Rueben Bain, certainly. And I think the thing that it does, kind of what you're talking to and doing as well with the ownership, is it brings up the "I told you so" aspect. Wow, now there's public pressure. Okay, so there's public pressure if we draft the guy. And what happens is if he makes a mistake in his rookie year or the second year, everybody's going to go, "Well, you knew he did this. What were you thinking? He obviously had reckless behavior." And that's what can scare the owner, right? That's what a little bit's going on, let's say, with James Pierce in Atlanta right now. He had... Going into the draft, people knew there was off-the-field issues. There was things that scared people a little bit. Atlanta took that chance. Now the rest of the league and Arthur Blank are going, this is why I fired Raheem Morris and whatever. I mean, damn, look at this. Oh, no, I got to deal with this now. So that's what happens when it gets put out there. And, yes, could it end up maybe making Rueben Bain fall a few spots? Certainly. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, the difference between being picked number 3 and number 9 is millions and millions of dollars. And that'll definitely wake people up and learn a lesson that way. But, yeah, this is a tough situation and certainly going to be a little more pressure on it now with it being out there in the public.
I haven't really thought about it, Chris, but
yeah.
I guess I've noticed without affirmatively noticing, over the years, there's been less of a frenzy by reporters to find and publish information about off-field issues involving the incoming players.
Would agree.
And maybe the reporters are being more responsible. Maybe the teams are engaging less frequently in these underhanded activities where it's very simple. If you really like a guy, you put some bad stuff out there about him so he'll fall to you. And it's a Machiavellian approach, and it hurts the kid, but it helps you. You want the kid on your team so badly that you're willing to instigate a draft day slide that will cost him millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because you want that kid on your team.
Totally. And the other thing, too, I think that's different.
That has happened.
You're right, 100%. And I think that's where maybe it's a little different now is compared to the old days, maybe 15 years ago. Yeah, there was a little bit more leaning on people. Wait, did you hear this story? Did you know this story? You had to go that way. To what you kind of started the conversation with now, everything's so digital that it's all there. The teams know. Not only do we talk about the area scout, right? Whoever we got in charge of the Southeast and in charge of the Miami Hurricanes scouting there, they're going to know those stories. And then I can speak to it from my own personal experience working for the New England Patriots, what you talked about. I was there, one of the guys, I got a checklist today, guys that are coming out in the draft. I got to crack through it here. I got to go through the databases, put their names in, put little key phrases in to see if it comes up with anything that comes up there, that they might have gotten in trouble that kind of flew under the radar and we didn't find out about it. So the teams now have more of that available than ever before and are all over it to where maybe that's why it's not, put on blast maybe quite like it was in the old days where people had to actually talk and call each other to figure things out.
Well, and just hopefully the teams have realized that it's not fair to the players
to
try to instigate a slide, to whisper to someone, hey, you should write this story. Hopefully, the sport has evolved for the better in that way. Remember the Wonderlic test used to be a huge deal.
Right.
They don't even do it anymore. Thank God. That thing was so unreliable. The players would show up not even knowing they were going to take it. They don't care. Some guys were prepared on it. Some guys had no idea. It was an agent problem more than a player problem. And those numbers would get leaked. They would get leaked, and they would get weaponized. And, again, there were astute and very shrewd people in front offices who were using the media to try to get the guy they want. I just feel like that doesn't happen to the same extent now.
Yeah.
And but this Rueben Bain thing, I don't know how it came out now, why it came out now, but it came out, and we know about it. And we'll see if and when he gets drafted. He will. Will it affect him? We don't know. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.